Sometimes we talk about characters and we frequently touch on Jacko, and I'm always like, Jacko's scrubby, and I don't go into more. And then in the comment section, people are always like, why Jacko? Like, why are you fixated? Like, why do you not like her? Why do you not like item throw characters? I decided to put everything in one nice little video package for you. Many people make videos under different archetypes like Grappler, Zoner, Puppet, whatever. So I'm going to take a different angle and we're going to talk about types of characters I don't like. The first one, gotta do it. So we start with Faust. Item throw characters are extremely cursed, and they are so cursed that I think that they punished you with release Faust because of how cursed this type of character is. The concept is that you throw out items and they may or may not be random depending on the game and the character. These items are generally pretty strong because they're mostly random. Again, not every game. So like Faust has random items, Platinum has random items. It's like Teddy from Persona does not have random items. Everything is in set order. When you have these items on the screen, the items act independently of you, and then you act with it. You make choices based on what's happening with the item. Because of the item, once the item is out on the screen, essentially the item plays neutral for you, because now you have this thing that changes the game state. Now the other person just has to deal with it. In particular, this version of Faust is one of the more fair versions of item characters I've seen. The main like actual BS thing about him is that he can throw multiple. He has no limit. And this is because his item throw has a couple of weaknesses. The main two being it's a lot slower compared to older games, and the items that he has, the opponent has the ability to interact with them much better than before. If you want an extreme version of item throw character, I do indeed have an example for you. What is the issue with Teddy? Why do I not like Teddy? Why do I not like item throw characters? This is the extreme. This is like the best version of Teddy. Essentially, in my experience, this is the best item throw character ever. So there's they nerfed a bunch of shit. Like if you're playing Ultimax right now, you're not playing against this version. So he has 2 item orders. So you can't use the old strategy of memorizing his items and having a plan ready, because he has 2 different orders. And you can barely interact with any of his items. And then the ones that you can, generally, it doesn't mean anything. It just means it activates faster, or like Teddy doesn't get as much of an advantage as if he just got you normally. You know, he doesn't really beat you by like mixing you up really. If he hits you, cool. The main thing is that he has his big normals, because these characters always have esports normals. Oh, there's the bike. Who got the bike? The bike key is a perfect example of what I hate about item characters. If Teddy gets the bike goes back and forth. It's like the trumpet. But then if Narukami gets the bike, then Teddy gets the bike anyway, and it just goes once. So they changed this. They nerfed this, of course. They nerfed this. So I actually don't know who got it. I think Grover got it. So even though Grover got the bike key, his reward for him getting the bike key is the bike hits him one time and not 2. All skill, baby. So then you pull up, he throws an item, just sees what's going on. So to me, it's just very obnoxious. Like, I respect the concept of zoning, because zoning, what that means is you're trying to control space, and generally these characters have big dead zones, or like if they whiff, they're dead type shit. So even if it's annoying to deal with, like it clearly takes skill. Like it really takes skill. Item throw characters is like this is a perfect example. So he gets these 2 items. You can't do shit about either of them. He rolls into it. If you get hit by the lightning, this is Persona, so you will get paralyzed, and then he is like, oh snap, and he goes into the barrier robo, which is plus, and now my man just pulls up, does pressure. If he was a pinch more woke, he could have thrown an item there and just pushed the turn. Type number 2. What is type number 2? So I don't actually know what to call this. I just called it like demon, like Zappa and Arakune. The concept is that the character is weak, but then they could do something to power up involving like special rules, right? So Zappa, of course, he has like his various summons that you could do, and then like if you get 8 orbs, you get Rao, right? Arakune, curse. The reason why I don't like this, they lean so hard into the character is weak spot that they go ham on when the character is powerful. So Arakune, it's a character that is really hard to say that you lost to, basically. Like right now, that 2C was not maybe, I mean, that could have set up my loss right there by getting hit by that. It's true that the character is not super strong right now, but he has a bunch of ways in this version to go into curse immediately. And then once he gets into curse, like, this game is likely over. So now I'm cursed. I choose not to tech. He gets to 50-50 me multiple ways, and he does a shit ton of damage, and he already has 100 meters. He's going 1, 2, 3, and I'm dead. Just like that. Every round is kind of like that. It's like the character is weak, but not really. And then once you get into their win condition, it's just so overwhelming, no counterplay win condition. Arakune has like, oh, neutral is over and I'm mixing you. And like Zappa has that energy too. I don't really have a good name for this. I just always said like they're demonic or like something like that. There's no other way, I think, to define it. There's not a lot of these characters, thankfully, for our hearts. There's really not that common of a character type, but I eternally detest this. I dislike this so much that Arakune is still banned in my Twitch chat. How long have I had Twitch? Like 10 years later? Okay, next, of course, as Kizzy K lovingly called it, the auto battle. I've always called this auto zoning. I mean, if you play Stripe, you know the concept, right? So he has the gun locks on you. Once it's locked on, you just got it. He can make it faster by using curse. I never think this takes skill. Like, I literally never think this takes skill, this type of character. Like, because the whole point of zoning is you, the person who's playing the zoner, are taking risk by controlling space in some spots. So you have to weigh risk return a lot. Like with auto zoning, you take that whole thing out, and so not only do you get like this full screen control, and it doesn't matter, this shit just follows you, right? So not only that, but the implication of that is that because of having this type of tool, then you're engaging on the activation of the tool itself, not the interaction between you and your opponent based on space. Essentially, to fight these type of characters, the general thing you're fighting is the move itself, not about the standard fighting game interaction in neutral is a position-based game based on hitboxes and hurtboxes that are dynamic based on movement and positioning, how many options you have in each situation, where the autozoner characters, once they get into autozoning mode, the interaction between the players just is around the autozoning move in the first place. You're fighting this, and there's spots where you're fighting like this, or you're fighting this, and if you get hit by this, you get comboed. If you get hit by this, you get comboed. If you block this, okay, so you get the guard crush and you get to pull up, so... And then if you get hit by this combo, and if you block it, you just repeat the situation, but after that, because once you block that, he's plus. I really detest it. I basically think autozoning is really scrubby. I think it doesn't take skill at all. There's no other way to put it. I detest even like bad autozoning stuff. I don't like, because there are plenty of examples of moves in fighting games that have in anime games that have tracking on it that are like by all means not that great. But on principle, I have to hate them because I just don't like it. I detest it. The good news is, just like the previous type of character, this is pretty uncommon. I don't think there's an auto zoning character in Exerd, really. There's a lot of bullshit zoning situations in Exerd, but not auto zoning. The main one in my head is Mew 12 from BlazBlue, but like, you see small elements of it in games. Don't ask me why this is the motion of auto zoning. Maybe it's because I don't want to be lovingly touched by this. Right. So the last one, you could say chip damage, but essentially I don't like characters who beat you without hitting you. I really dislike it. Gold Lewis falls in here, Amane falls in here, Jacko cheer pressure. This is basically the main reason why I don't like Jacko. So she can mix you a lot easier now. In the case that doesn't work, she also has the cheer stuff to use too, and she probably will come up with more ways to like chip you. I really, on principle, do not like characters that beat you without hitting you. Like in the end game, chip damage is pretty cool and interesting because like it forces the other person to make choices, but having your whole game plan be that, not a big fan. Guard Crush, we cursed ourselves with Guard Crush. Gold Lewis is probably the outright blatant one, but Jacko too. Like we definitely have to keep an eye on Jacko. as a summary, I'm just really not partial to character types that beat you from not interacting in an extreme way. Probably could find a better way of wording that. Item throw characters make you feel like you're interacting, but no, because you can't interact with items for the most part. And then the demon characters, they just fucking meme you. And then auto zoning takes away all neutral. There's no neutral. And then characters that beat you without hitting you, it's like, okay, you played neutral. For your Gold Lewis of the world, it's similar to auto zoning, where it's like there's one thing you have to focus on, and like that's the only thing you can engage on, and besides that, to just loop in this thing over and over that like you can't really do anything about. And even if you pick nothing, you're losing. How do you guys feel? Maybe call me a scrub if you want. Tell me cry more if you want.